Welcome, Will.
Hey,
Recording in progress.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Brandon, good to see you.
you too. What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Christian, I thought you were still in the hot tub.
It's I brought it into the living room. I just put a
Yeah,
shirt on to make
great.
it look like I'm not.
That's
Like sous vide Christian.
right, exactly. Hi, Emily. It's good to see you.
Hi Dave. Hi everyone.
Hey.
Hey,
All right, let me do screen share here. I always love it when people are the rapid filling of the presentation as the presentation is happening. That's pretty funny.
right.
The slide deck. It's all good. No judgment here. It's all good. Um,
Dave, there's a slide about anti-crisis right near
yeah.
the very end. If we're running out of time, you're welcome to skip that one.
Okay, got it. Great.
The
Yeah,
name of it
but
alone sounds like a slide you don't like skip.
right,
Sounds
Right, I
significant.
know. It totally does. Oh
Just
gosh.
drop the
right.
anti-crisis one.
Well,
Okay.
we don't want to piss anyone off, any of the higher ups, so maybe we shouldn't mention it.
Okay. I am do a screen share. I won't get moving. Desktop. Okay, I expect we'll still get some people piling in, and I'm trying to. My camera's down on my computer, and so I put it up on my phone. But if it sounds or does weird things, let me know, and I'll just kill the camera. Great. Gregory's joining. Great. So let's get moving. Welcome to the February 6th community call, our monthly community call. Excited to be here. It's good to see everyone, and a big happy new year. So let's get moving. So we're going to cover today. We've got governance, registry updates, some biocultural updates that I want to bring forward. Tokenomics, as always, with Brandon. Thank you for being here, Brandon. Some Regen AI or our AI endeavors we'll talk about as well. So stay tuned for that. And there's probably other things that have been added to the slide deck. So, and these aren't in perfect order, but let's just keep moving. And I think I'm recording. If anyone needs their note takers in, otherwise let me know. But otherwise, I think I've got enough. I think I've got enough note takers. I think I'll share mine with anyone who wants it. Okay, so regen governance, major governance proposal, long time coming. So a big one, just a big shout to the Bitwit team, one of our lead validators, to the Regen Network Development Engineering team, and yeah, just a long time coming of moving and finalizing, approving the software upgrade. So we only have two more days to vote. Quorum has been met, which is great, and so this was of last night. But this shouldn't discourage you from voting. So if you want to vote, just go to your Kepler wallet, and you should be able to cast a vote through that interface. And you have another full day to do that. So if there's any questions about this governance proposal, feel free to ask here. Sam's on the call and he can chat more about some of the technical side of things, but I know we've covered this previously. So before I leave it, any questions about the ledger upgrade and or the governance function here?
Is this what enables the upgrade in our registry to include the DAO stuff? And some of those changes to the
It helps,
governance
but
of the
wasn't gating. They're like separate, like the teams upgrade could have been built against the previous version, but there was a lot of work to coordinate so that it is compatible with this version fully. And it's more to sort of enhance, just keep up with the state of art in security, as well as unlock IBC2 specifically, which is the big unlock from a feature
right.
perspective. There's some other cool things that are happening, but we weren't
Cool.
gated on Regen teams with this upgrade. Instead, it was just uh, work to make it compatible. Hey, Corey.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, so the like DAO has been enabled for a while. It was just we could have launched the regen teams feature, but then when we did the upgrade, we'd have to kind of do a bunch of stuff to upgrade the teams feature itself. So we just decided to wait so we didn't have to duplicate work on making that upgrade.
That makes sense.
Awesome. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll keep moving. All right, keep going. Regen Registry. Becca, do you want to pick up here? And obviously, Sam, feel free to jump in anywhere as well.
Yeah, for sure. I made a little agenda because we've got a lot moving. So first we'll drop into RBL. Second, I want to show a great like community project that's moving on the unregistered project section of the app. Share about some new protocols, new projects, dig into a new grant that we're involved in, and then a sneak peek around the AI tooling that we've been working on. So next slide. To start with, the January RBL was awesome. Big thanks to Sam and Erica. They did a demo of the new Teams feature, just really exciting and especially cool to see folks that were there that have been asking for this and have been part of the kind of like persona journey as this was built. So that was cool. You can check out the recording in the YouTube library we have, and then maybe doing more of like a workshop in February. So TBD, I threw this up there as maybe a teaser. So we'll see. Next slide. So I love perusing the unregistered projects. It's maybe the best thing ever. And this was one. So these are folks out of Victoria, Australia, that are they like advocating for some of the last remaining kind of wilderness that supports the koala. And you can click on their project and learn more about their work, their rewilding work. They have some beautiful photos that they shared. And it's like the point and purpose of all of this is for like the exponential expression of regeneration. And this was one that like definitely captured a lot of heart. So check them out. Stony Rising Rewilding. Next up. Some upcoming protocols that are kind of wrapping different stages of review. So the seagrass module that's part of the larger sea trees marine restoration protocol is wrapping up. So it's cool. There are just a lot of different elements to the marine restoration protocol. So it's exciting to see. And they're exploring at the screenshot to the right there, they're exploring some really interesting tooling to just even like scope out the project areas that they're working in. The second is Eden that they're wrapping up an expert review of the pristine parish, like a litter pickup methodology. So definitely like stewardship in action. Excited to have that wrapped, and that should be up soon. Next up. So if you want to hit play, it's just kind of a review of the project page. So ERA Brazil, who already has the Pantanal project up online with credits available, there's a new project coming. So they've created a project page for folks to just, kind of enjoy and get into. And they've posted kind of their initial submission for registration, just really exceptional content that they've put on this page. Really wonderful to see them expanding their work and expanding the protocol that they developed that's in the library. Next up. The project is going to be 2 or 3 slides on this. Carbon Egg, so it's a new project developer out of Eastern Europe, and they are using ecometrics protocol for soil organic carbon. They are registering over 100 farms, as you can see in both Czechia and Slovakia. Next slide. This is already a really exciting opportunity for us to really like put the full stack to work. And big kudos to Sam for his support and figuring out how all of this is going to play out. But this is going to be, a kind of a meta project. There are lots of farms within the project. Lots of samples from the soil that are ultimately going to shake out, as credits to be purchased. And thankfully, all that has been built over the years on our tech stack is really like ready to work. So that meaning like data is native from day one. And we're looking at different automation routes so that we're not manhandling data all along the way. We're being, smart and efficient and able to meet this scale. There are lots of interesting opportunities that I'm sure we'll talk more about during, future community calls. But I think in the next slide, I wanted to show a bit of the thinking behind it because this is, like I said, it's really bringing to bear the utility that we have had for quite some time within the data module in particular, and thinking about how to leverage all of that in this, very like practical project with all of these different farms. So when we're thinking about everything from like geospatial, project area to sampling, stratification, like lab results, land tenure information, all of that, in a two-dimensional landscape is messy and, versioning is an issue. And how do you, send all that information? So we're in like the 3 dimension where we're really thinking about how all of that gets like integrated between where that data lives and then how it lands and how that data provenance is maintained. So the most exciting thing is it's very much a blueprint. This is not a one-off. This is how we can serve these larger scale programs. This one, somebody else? I didn't add this one.
Yeah, the Klima V2 project is just launching in the next couple of weeks, and this is a new eco credit sales pipeline for Regen. We've launched a partnership with them and are representing the city forest credits over on the base blockchain. I'm excited to see how it goes. I feel super confident that we're going to sell a good tranche of city forest credits when it first launches, because the protocol has a mandate to spend a particular amount of money right off the bat. What I'm less clear about is how well they will get traction down the line, but I'm crossing my fingers and I'm hopeful that there'll be a steady pipeline for eco credit sales throughout the year and throughout the years. I'd really love to see the carbon egg credits and the ecometric credits in general be brought onto that platform next. So be watching for that.
Thanks, Christian.
So last year we were awarded as part of a kind of consortium, the Darwin Initiative grant, which is funded by the UK government. This is really like along the same lines as so much of the deep work that we've done with Seco Pi, with Yakum, with the Shara Mensa project, with Fundación Pachamama. And so this is called the Locally Led Environmental Stewardship to Protect Madagascar's Forests and Communities. It's in Madagascar's Central Highlands, and we're working with the University of West England, Sadabe, which is an on-the-ground nonprofit, and Money for Madagascar, which is a nonprofit that kind of based in the UK. And we're leaning in around investor market research and methodology design. This is a spot in the world that is facing a lot of ecological pressures. So we're trying to lean in and support. Next slide. And more specifically, the work that's involved, like fundamentally, is supporting regenerative agriculture scaling and doing that within a way of like symbiosis with the wildlife that's there in these forests and trying to regenerate some of those forests alongside a lot of students from the university as well, doing the biodiversity monitoring and the community. So it's a really interesting group of humans that are trying to lean in. Yeah, so we have been working with Gaia AI for quite some time, kind of like holding the full vision of like what we want to be able to do with data and review processes. Kind of this version one is using AI tooling to automate the some steps of the review process for projects coming in. So the manual non-AI process is like looking through each section of each document and cross-checking and copying and pasting and very, very manual. And so it's really awesome. Gaia has been working on a whole workflow to allow us to drop in the right documents or cite the right documents, have it go through a review according to a non-hallucinating, very tightly constrained checklist of requirements and evidence, and then spit out a confidence kind of range, queuing a human review at the end. And as you can tell, this nice web app is the first step in us being able to kind of see a bunch of different projects moving at the same time. The goal is, to be able to meet the scale of something like Carbon Egg, but to also continue to fully realize our vision of what like machine readable processes are for managing data and reviews. More to come on that.
Thanks, Becca. Brandon, you want to pick up the tokenomics side?
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Brandon at EcoWealth, and happy to do this presentation of the Regen tokenomics that was laid out by Max, the working group lead. We meet up every Tuesday, and so the Q1 action sprint that's been defined is a group aligned on prototyping supply cap dynamic mint burn model of the Regen token tied to ecological value, of course. Shift from open-ended theory discussions to time-bounded 8 to 12 week concrete artifact with clear ownership and falsible coordination hypothesis, because things are starting to move fast with technology speeding up and the assistance of Gaia AI. A modeling for an alternative economic model was proposed. We did a meeting on it, this past Tuesday, and it was really, really cool. So I encourage people to check that out. It's in the network Telegram. New policies published. I published in the forums quite a bit over the last month or two, covering proof of authority mechanisms, two token economics with dynamic supply fixed cap, institutional investment pathways, and micro incentive pitch program. I look forward to working on that micro incentive pitch program a little further. I got the program written out, but there's just a little bit more work to do to get it into the right people's hands and settling on that incentive amount. AI tooling infrastructure was deployed, MCP, model context protocol based tools, now query on-chain data directly, token gated access, prototype tested at 0.01 regen threshold. And because we want to, expand the utility of Regen. There's a 3-layer permissioning model, internal, commons, public. That's going to be really dynamic. Network state baseline established. This is really cool. Everyone here should feel good about this. 6.1 million eco credits issued across 57 projects. 1.4 million tons retired, and around 420,000 hectares. Under regenerative management in 22 countries, with credit prices ranging from $2 to $120. Thank you. Thank you guys for making that happen. Thank the network. And all materials at regenerativeTokenomics.org. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Thanks, Brandon. Any questions? Failed to stop either for Becca on the registry side or Brandon on the tokenomics side. Just take a pause.
I had some, sorry,
Go
I
Well, I
had
ahead.
just
some.
wanted to say that, I mean, it looks like maybe there's some questions, but I just wanted to say that there's an unprecedentedly awesome level of energy and momentum around the Regen Token Economics working group right now. So if people are interested in jumping in, the stuff that's been unlocked through kind of the model context protocol work that Gaia AI is doing and just agentic coding that we're kind of like living in this crazy moment right now. And it is kind of all systems go with a really fun group of people doing experiments, but that are tightly constrained and linked to formal governance processes and linked to the regen code base. So it's really fun way to be learning and using agentic coding, but kind of like constrained and with a rich context and with a lot of yeah, regenerative ethos and potential. So it's been really fun. It's been a highlight of my week every week this year, just jamming with the group there. So
Brandon, did you have an additional question? I think you were.
Yeah, uh, so on Christian's slide with Klima, the unlock for us is that they are doing about roughly 10,000 tons a month on the old system on average, and they have roughly 10,000 beneficiaries per week as well, with a lot of microtransactions. So with this new launch, there's there it's I think it's going to be big. Like those, like I think that's a really good baseline and very supportive of the singularity when you have every second, every microsecond is attaching to ecological development. And then the other thought I had was on the registry component. Um, for most people to digest the credit, I really would like to see like a social video piece, some like because you can take pictures with the smartphone and it'll generate a video for you that's relatively production grade. I mean, most people look at their phone and you have something real nice, a nice collection of all the photos you took in, and it looks real cool. I think that would go a long way as a suggestion. And if those projects are interested and they're not getting issued credits, there's people in the community that would be willing to tokenize those early stage projects with real liquidity. So it's something to consider. I mean, a lot of people would love to have their hands on a little liquidity provisioned for koala restoration. It's just one example. It's super cool. Those are my thoughts. Thanks for giving me a second.
Thanks, Brandon. Any other questions or comments on the registry update or ledger or the tokenomics? All right, let's keep moving. Regen Foundation book is still going. Will, are you on the call? Yes, you
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
if you
then
want
we got a
to.
video here that we could click in actually, sure, you could start with that. Why don't you start there?
Hey friends, a little update. Started as an essay, and then writing a book and joining Zoom calls over and over again, till eventually you find yourself walking on the side of the interstate, carrying the Maori sovereignty flag with some friends in a caravan behind me to back me up. And you kind of ask, like, how did I get here?
So that's
that was awesome.
from like
Nice.
6 hours ago or something over in Aotearoa in New Zealand. Austin's with the Maori right now, and we've had this book that we put out, and we talk about all kinds of things in the book, but that's one of the things that we talk about, and one of the collaborations that we're in the midst of right now. Um, So I guess we had 50 advanced copies, and those were delivered at the turn of the year. And we are just preparing the mailing list for our next batch. And I know some of you are on the list. Thank you. And if you want to join, if you want to get your book, go to our website and make a donation, and we'll uh, get it to you. So certainly happy to answer any questions, but that's the little Regen Foundation update.
Right on. Thank you, Will. All right, let's keep going. Biocultural update. We're having a kickoff event for the biocultural strategy to provide a little bit of a peek into the last year with some, anything from understanding what happened on the ground in the Shadavensa community. As an example, we had credits issued. We have a number of credits totaling something in the north of 70K USD worth that we're looking to sell. We can also share just some updates on direction and expansion plans to move from Shada Mensa to adjacent or nearby communities. So you'll be hearing from the community of Shada Mensa, Amazon Sacred Headwaters, Natura Teclac, Fundación Pachamama, Regen Network, and friends. So if you would like to come in, it'll be about an hour. It'll be translated in both English and Spanish, and would love to have you there. And certainly, we're moving into a pretty aggressive push for sales of these credits to prove the concept that of this important indigenous-led forest stewardship mechanism for financing that type of work. So if you have questions, holler. The Luma is there at the bottom. I'll put it in the chat here as well when we're done. And there's actually probably more updates. I don't know, Gregory, if there's anything you want to mention from the Siekopai perspective on what's moving there, but just in the broader biocultural strategy. But feel free to use that space now if you'd want, or we can pass.
Sure, yeah. Well, there's a bunch of really cool stuff happening with the Siekopai in parallel. And the thing that I think I'd talk about here in this forum is that we've been working on developing a tool that I think could be really broadly applicable for voice to text translation and governance of, in this case, ecological contracts, so that the process of governing these kind of complex long-term contracts can fit culturally with the cultural norms of indigenous people, which in this case is community assemblies. So, and bringing that into a process that leverages blockchain, leverages AI, and can kind of link. This has always been the vision. Like 100% of the time of Regen Network has been this deep idea that it's through participatory governance of ecological contracts that we actually make something meaningful. But it's always been very hard because a lot of this work is very esoteric. A lot of this work up until now meant you needed to be a lawyer or an accountant or a technologist. And it's very hard for normal people to sort of like grapple with the complexity of that in the way the user experience shows up, where, you might see a giant 80-page contract get dropped to, an indigenous elders council, and they're like, what is this, right? Just like you or I would be if somebody dropped an 80-page legal contract that, has like 100-year time frames. It's mind-boggling, right? But it turns out that you can parse and digest and converse and break it into pieces and talk about different things and track all of that and create very high quality processes for that kind of participatory governance. So this links really deeply with the foundation's work on ecological institutions, but there's sort of a living pilot right now in the Amazon that has been building a set of biocultural indicators and a governance system around those biocultural credits that deeply incorporates this kind of voice to text to contract pipeline. And it's very exciting. So just wanted to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, and I'll probably stop sharing for a minute while we're talking about anti-crisis, and I'll bring up the Pacto. There's a nice little visual diagram that's been created for that I can share out. Is that I assume that's what you're referring to, Gregory?
Yeah, definitely. I totally just didn't have time to throw that into the
Yeah,
deck.
I'll share it out here in a minute. But thanks for the share, Gregory. That's helpful. But yeah, please drop in on the 17th. I think it'll be. I think y'all will be impressed with the progress made and the vision for the next couple of years. Anti-crisis. Um, so Christian, we want to move forward on this, or
Yeah, yeah, I'll share about it. So, first of all, this is not a project that was built by R&D or any of the core contributors to Regen Network. This is a project built by someone else, someone who is a Regen token holder and wants to support Regen projects across the web. This is kind of a like trickster activist and meme culture type project. They want to try to capture attention with silly and funny and kind of trickster-like memes across social media platforms and things. The tokenomics of it are set up kind of like Bitcoin. Eventually, there will only be 21 million, but rather than mining using a lot of electricity, instead you mine by burning what they call RegNet tokens. And those are regen related networks. And so they're starting out with regen. The regen token is one of their tokens that you can burn and then be able to mine the AKK token. I have no idea how well this team is going to be able to pull off what their vision is, but I think it looks like fun. I kind of look forward to contributing some fun memes and things, and if it can take off, then cool. It'll bring a little more attention to our project and be a buy and burn function on the regen token. So just launched. There is currently a quest that has been set in place. If you go to the ak69.fun website, you can participate in that quest and be one of the first miners of the AKK token.
Awesome.
That's that.
Great. And here's a little bit more about the Pacto. And again, this hasn't gone by Gregory for accuracy, but was based on some of the dialogue. If people have any want to dig into how uh, some of this work on the ground of using contemporary technology tools to codify decision making and sovereignty of the activities of indigenous communities relative to their how they interact with the global North capital and create legibility for their stewardship. This is a good little diagram for that. Great. So I think with that said, we are at time. Gregory, I did create space, and I know I didn't give you a ton of time to share more about some of the work that we're doing with on the AI front. And Becca shared, the front end registry agent that has been developed, which has been I think, likely it's a harbinger of things to come, both for internal tool development, but also realizing that we have an opportunity to support the broader climate finance, ecological repair space with some of these our learnings and some of the tools that we're building. So do you have any, do you want to just share, and I can stop the share here and it can be more of a dialogue, anything further around kind of our emergent vision and philosophy of how we're going to approach the kind of appropriate use of AI tools within the regen ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm just going to take this opportunity to oh, you don't have sharing turned on. I'll send my request to let me share.
You're good.
Um, to to do the unprecedented, which is to share a GitHub repo. Um, I mean, there's a lot going on, and um, I think in looking in the rearview mirror, for those of us who've been around Regen Network for a while, I think we always felt that there was this implicit we were always in a world that was going to be increasingly driven by artificial intelligence and automation. And so a big question has always been, how do you surf that while maintaining humanity and serving ecological regeneration, right? And what does that look like? And there's been different phases of how we've tried to address that. But what we're doing right now is trying to harness agentic coding tools and build a robust knowledge commons for really rich context that's accurate and precise, such that we can use that both for land stewards and registry agents like Becca talked about, but also to start to build the scaffolding to be in ever evolving and improving Regen Network itself as this kind of hybrid cyber physical organism that we're all a part of. What does it look like to make it way easier to do a feature request and have a new Go module or CosmWasm contract spring into existence that serves a particular use case? What does it look like to link in voice to text governance processes so that it's no longer this weird, crazy experience with your like ledger and a crappy user interface and some tokens to actually like express your voice and engage in governing something. And it's really an exciting time. There's so much going on. And I brought up this specific agentic tokenomics page because I just wanted to share some work trying to think about where does agentic AI fit into the larger stack. And there's a lot of stuff taking place. There's a lot of really cool projects, but how do we kind of order and organize it such that it is a net positive and not just chaos? And so this was my attempt to talk about what gets automated, where it gets automated, how it gets automated, and kind of create a phased plan that we can easily sort of engage with that involves discovery and analysis and processes, stakeholder maps. So this is just a very rich bit of information to pull from, and I think is a nice sort of scaffolding that what I'm seeing is different people are starting to work at different layers here. So if you go to phase 3, you can see there's just different pieces of work that can be done and it's all coded, right? So we can unleash our agents on this if we want to. So those people who might be looking for some fun vibe coding, opportunities, there's a lot of it's just a rich, super fun context to be engaging with. And we're doing our best to kind of also be vibe coding a really like multi-agent, multi-human collaborative scaffolding so that we're not stepping on each other's toes, so we can collaborate and do great things and order and organize the work that's happening at the different levels of the stack and the different needs for different users and just kind of have a little bit of traffic control. Side note, there's a really great collision taking place with our friends at Open Civics and the work that's happening at Regen Commons around the knowledge commons and shared taxonomies, and there's so much cool stuff going on all over the place that feels like it's getting more tightly coupled. Like a lot of what I'm feeling really bullish and excited about is it feels like a lot of the coordination failures of the past have to do with actually we can like leap over because we can design agents and we can engineer context and we can delegate coordination tasks actually, and it can go much faster and be much more elegant and much more successful. So, yeah, I think Dave just put in the Regen AI category that is on the forum. I could just share that really quick too. It has onboarding. If you're interested, um, if you're interested, I just spun up this category. Stuff was a little bit scattered in general. So I just did this category, I think yesterday. But you can see an overview of KOI, the knowledge organizing infrastructure. I'm sorry, which we have an MCP into, so you can access a whole lot of information, and this just gives you a really lovely idea. Corey, you'll remember this from back when block science started building out Koi, and we've been using it, and it's been going very well. And then I think this is the real best guide that exists that talks about MCPs, the Regen Ledger MCP, the Registry Review MCP, et cetera, which is really enable us to have not just a model like a front. Okay, cool. The frontier models are interesting, but if you can't constrain their context to and sort of define prompts that are sourcing from real information, they aren't actually that useful yet. And so this is a way of kind of constraining that and rooting that intelligence into this shared context of this big community project that we call Regen Network. So hopefully people are as stoked as we are about all the stuff that's happening. It really feels like a renaissance. I haven't had this much fun building things maybe ever. So it's pretty rad.
So I'd love to hear. I think Brandon, you've been using some of these tools. Becca, I know you've been using them. Just any other reflections from folks who are interacting with these, the kind of emergent Regen AI work. Feel free to just share, and ideally giving folks some idea how they might be able to engage as well and do some building that hasn't been as easy as it is now.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can chime in. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Brandon. Go for it.
thank you, Becca. I appreciate that. Yeah, so testing has been the bottleneck for me, and I've already began work on Gregory's GitHub for agentic work, and I was able to work on the M010, which is a signaling component. Yeah, those are like the high level. That's like I've done a few more things. It's a reputation signal. But the development UX is going through a big breakthrough. That's like a huge reflection because I wasn't a developer before, but I'm getting very close to becoming one because of these tools. So I'm really excited for that. But Becca, thank you.
Yeah, that's cool to hear, Brandon. Thanks for sharing. I think at the highest level, what I think makes me the most excited is historically it's been challenging for folks to like map on to Regen Network, whether that be, you know, governance or Regen Registry or the ledger, but like what arm are you holding? And what I'm finding is that because we now have this kind of like intermediary, like real connective tissue between everything that we've built and all the conversations that we've had and all of the knowledge base, that we can make this connective tissue something that everybody can drop into, and therefore like self-serve and map onto like what opportunity could there be, or how could I best leverage XYZ, or this is my need. Is there anything here for me? So I'm already using it to fulfill my needs internally, to try to put things together in a proposal or to try to build something that feels like directly and intuitively connected to a real need and desire. So in many ways, it's like this missing piece behind, all of our thought and incredible building and craftsmanship. There just needed to be more connective tissue. And so the different ways that we'll be experimenting are going to be, we're really responding to the needs that we hear. But if there are other needs and desires, like please bring them. Because what is highly unique to Regen is certainly our tech stack and the ability to like apply that within the ecological space. But it's also that we've spent, 7+ years really like trying and failing and trying and failing and succeeding. And, like we have this well house of experience that is frankly like really hard to distill in a general way. So this allows us to not spin our wheels trying to do that, but try to, like piecemeal it out in ways that are highly relevant to people that are building and doing and regenerating, trying to seek funding, like just let the use cases roll.
Thanks for sharing, Becca. Any other questions or share outs just related to anything regen related? Okay.
I'll just echo what Gregory and Brandon were saying is that this moment of having tools to be able to enable someone like me who's not a developer to do developer type stuff has just been so fun. I just wish I had more time to work on it and figure it out. I vibe coded of my first couple websites over the last week and made a website for this Super Bowl party that I'm going to that's just this like absolutely ridiculous, silly website. And did it in like an hour and a half with Cloud Code. It's just like so cool. And now digging into regen stuff and thinking about, okay, how do we take a flash in the night thing like Molt Book, this thing where agents are talking to each other, and get in there with our agents and then somehow convince them that the right thing to do is buy eco credits, like there's gonna be all these little things that pop up where we could like jump in there with some quick code and take advantage of it and you know uh, make regeneration happen with creativity.
Agents need to boost their trust score with some retirements.
Yeah, exactly. Something. I don't know what speaks to them, but I think we can experiment with it.
Yeah.
It's super exciting to hear how y'all are leaning into this stuff. I'm exploring it all the time myself as well. It's pretty insane. What I'm finding in my own work now is that really most of the stuff that I'm paying the most attention to when I'm working on coding projects is the specifications.
Yeah.
And it's really thinking a lot. And it's like, I'd say first it's like the specifications. Second is then like the tools that I'm using, and am I using the latest whatever orchestration thing or like things that support a Claude Code environment to make it do whatever better. But the first is really just like, how am I defining requirements in a way that these systems are able to work with super easily? And that it's like, it makes sense to me and it's really, really clear. And what's been super nice and where I'm doing most of that work, because a lot of the consulting work that I'm doing right now is still in kind of like the data standards space. It's using that tool LinkML that we were using for all of our regen data standards work. So I don't know where that stuff is at within how much you guys are still currently looking at that, or like if there's a lot of energy going into it, but that like as a source for, a lot of these downstream systems or spawning of new credits and whatever. I just think like continuing to put energy into like the specification and the standards is I'm finding it to be like a huge point of leverage for like you get that right and then great. Like in my use case, like I'm generating web UIs like automatically from like structured data schemas and standards that I'm defining so that researchers can like enter in data sets according to the structure that I've designed and stuff. But I'm not a great front end developer, but that's all stuff that I'm able to sort of just like have cascading and just like happening for me. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's right. I think lots more could probably be done. We miss you. I think Sam has had limited time, and the people who've been working on the frameworks working group and doing things have had other things going on. But it's sort of like that stuff is part of the knowledge context and knowledge artifact. And why I'm enthusiastic about Koi as like our bet is that it makes that kind of context engineering really easy to pull from. And it like that stuff needs to be more um, developed. I'm finding that, these tools are actually pretty good at just banging out context and specifications also. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you can just run recursive context engineering and then use the result of that
Hmm.
to like be your specification to get stuff done. And
Yeah.
so most of what I'm doing is like that tool stuff and then trying to just like be out in front with high quality context
Hmm.
so that people can source from that and like get a bunch of cool stuff done. I haven't gotten this, but I've been thinking about building some Replit plugins and some other things, just like you said. So it's like you can source from like eco credit structured data and
Hmm.
the Ledger MCP and some other things that are basically just structuring things. And somebody could go to Replit or whatever, who's even less deep in
Hmm.
the weeds and
Hmm.
have that kind of like user experience to be like, oh, I'm going to pick the Regen plugin. Boop, it's all just there. I want to, I want
Hmm.
to build a UI for my community garden, eco crediting thing. And it will then be able to source from all that context and just pop it up. Which right now, if you went to Replit and was like, build me an eco credit app, it would be like, uh, what? Although, if you said that with the MCP and Claude Code right now, because of the
Yeah,
layers of
yeah, yeah,
context,
exactly.
it would actually do really well because it would
Yeah.
know to call the tool that's the eco credit module. It would know, all of those different things and APIs and stuff. So a lot of that stuff is there right now, which makes it super fun for
Yeah.
those of us who may not have all of that context, may not be like, oh, I gotta go call that tool. It's been kind of like um, sorted in the context a little bit. And I think if more people are vibe coding and more people are playing around, we're also building recursive learning system into the COI so that as people break or make mistakes, you can like send feedback to the tool and it will learn and suggest changes and we can build more context. So to the degree to which people are want to play around, the more that everybody's playing with it, the smarter the whole system's going to get, the easier it's going to get for future people
Hmm.
to who roll up, and the more that we can actually build a lot of the things that I think we've all been envisioning are now possible in the matter of months. Whereas before we were operating a time frame of like, gosh, this is going to take us like 20 years. And now it feels like actually most of this could be done by the end of the year and like running if
Yeah.
enough people are just kind of vibe coding,
Yeah.
basically.
Have you guys been using Cursor at all? I've not, but I'm curious if that's been if that's been valuable.
I just started using anti-gravity,
Okay.
um, which is Google's
Yeah, yeah,
IDE.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's nice.
I
You're
like
finding
it
you
a
like it.
lot. I mostly am still using Claude Code, but
Just running that raw in a terminal with like VS Code or something or like another, or do you not have an IDE at all
I'm
when
not
you're
even
doing
using an
Claude
IDE.
Code
I'm just using Claude Code in the terminal
and letting it rip? That's great.
and just letting it rip. But I just moved over to start to try around with
Yeah,
anti-gravity a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah. I run Claude Code, but with all the IntelliJ IDEs, which is the ones that we were using at Regen that Aaron uses and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
there's
anti-gravity is
GoLand
a
and stuff like
fork
that.
of VS Code. So
Right. Yes. That's a little bit more like in the cursor direction of just being integrated with the agentic stuff, I think, right?
yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Leo,
Yeah, super.
Leo, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thanks everyone. This is quite fascinating, and it is indeed. I don't know. It's crazy what's happening with all of this. But I did want to ask and just bring up the point because I've been speaking a lot with people who are mm, like who have been working in certain locations where there are data centers, and I know that this is not the easiest topic, but like how do you guys think about if we're using vibe coding tools on like any type of AI that's really using a lot of compute, that compute is not being processed at your desk, where you would maybe know where the electricity comes from or how much electricity it draws. It is an externality that you might probably not know exactly how much energy it's using and where that's coming from and how this being done. So how do you guys think about that?
There's actually some really good tools for calculating compute energy usage and emissions. Generally speaking, the principle is if you don't know, estimate the worst possible, which then incentivizes there to be better reporting, right? Because if you're going to have some, and then at least for me, I'm trying to keep track of stuff and offset on chain, um, and have like carbon, water, biodiversity sort of like offsetting take place. I also think that regen network, if you start to match compute tokens with eco tokens, and we can like vibe code ways to stream those and then normalize that culturally, then the whole system could have a lot of resource flows and we could do amazing things as a community. So I just really encourage that type of thinking, Leo. I think it's great. And right now I'm just sort of like estimate the worst and offset accordingly is what I do. Like I said, there are good models. So it would not be hard to generate a model that estimates stuff that you build a little plugin around and like have a plugin and maybe even into your IDE that is just like automatically doing a little bit offsetting off of regen because we have credits live that could do that, and we could also create bounties for new credits and help localize that. And I mean, I think you could see a whole renaissance in a way of the eco crediting paradigm.
We have one more minute. Any other final questions or comments? Okay. Well, thanks everyone. Great for the conversation. Nice to see some fa familiar faces, some new faces, and everyone's faces. So, everyone have a great February. We will see you all in March or at the Regen Builder Lab here shortly. Thanks, everyone.